August, but right now we've been kind of held harmless in the current budget based on the May revise, which is very good news for us. So we're certainly hopeful that we'll be able to get what we need. We're going to do everything we can, and if it comes to rounding up donations, we'll do that. We've got such wonderful partners out there that want to make sure that our kids are safe and our staff is safe. So we will be doing everything we can to enlist those services if we need the money, and directing the money that we already have to getting those things that we need, because we have to have, once we get back into in-person instruction, there have to be those safety protocols in place. Will the training be offered for parents? Yeah, so the training for the computers, parents who maybe don't really know how to use computers, that will be in multiple languages. We will translate those out to make sure that all of our parents are able to access that information. What will happen with music band instruction? Will students have virtual classes? Certainly any music would be like any other classes. I mean, we're really focusing on math and science and English, but anything else will obviously have to be more. We'll have to be
well, did you get the news? School year, part of it.
Now, I think you guys heard the recommendations from, I believe it was the state, saying that certain musical instruments may not be the safest things to be using in-person instruction. Likewise, choral will be a little more challenging as well. So those are things that we're going to be really working on, trying to figure out exactly how best to do that. Those things, I suppose, to keep everybody safe, we could continue just to do it online. Our classes during the course of the spring did a really good job. The music classes did a really good job of ensuring that they were keeping their kids working in music. I don't know if you saw our graduation special on KTBU, but we had 2 different musical numbers that were done on Zoom by our students, and they were amazing. And they really showed how you can teach and learn and practice online together in a Zoom platform. So I'm not too worried about that right now, but we'll certainly have to be careful if we're considering doing anything kind of the musical practice rehearsal or anything like that in person, if it involves wind instruments and singing, because those obviously cause more of the droplets that we've been talking about so much to enter the air. Let's see. Distance learning for special eds, special needs students, that's something that we're still really working out. We're partnering with we're working very closely really with our special ed department, and we're going to focus special attention on them during the course of the distance learning, because of course they may have more challenges accessing Zoom and other things like that. So we're going to be really focusing on them. I can't get into any real details at the moment, but I think that we'll have much more to reveal on Monday when we have the big meeting that includes the community, and we'll have some of our staff from special ed there ready to answer those questions. Angela from the East Bay Times, can you please explain what the threshold would be to move to the next phase? Let me answer the second question first. What does the equity lens mean? That means we will be catering our in-person instruction to the most at work. The kids that have the highest needs. We'll be focusing on them first to get them back into in-person instruction. So that would be special ed, that would be homeless kids, that would be the foster kids, things like that, the ones who have the highest needs. And so, everybody will follow after that, but really, as we really start this out, we're really focused on the kids that have the highest needs. And then of course, as we progress beyond that, then we're talking about the elementary kids. The elementary kids are relatively speaking to high school, if you compare a second grader and a high school kid, the chances of transmission of COVID are based on the medical expertise we're hearing. The chances of sharing COVID among smaller kids is much lower than it is among the older grades. As you get older, you have much greater transmissibility of COVID. The doctors are telling us that the smaller kids don't have that as much. So we're going to be progressively getting up in grade, but all of that is going to really depend on the science, what the students need, and what we're hearing from our labor partners, all those things really are going to play into this. So we're not going to be hasty in any decision that we make. And as far as the threshold goes, we're gonna continue to work on that. We've got another month to really figure out exactly how we're going to progress from one stage to the next. Let's see. Hang on a second. The Chromebooks will be distributed. I think we're starting. I think we have a couple thousand on hand right now. We're waiting for another 20,000+ as we go forward. As I said, the loaners that we gave out during the spring, those are all still out there, and so that's great. The students are able to access their work that way, and anybody who doesn't, such as perhaps incoming kindergartners and other students who maybe are transferring into the district, will be getting them some of these new computers as they come forward. But those will be loaners, and then we'll eventually get all the ones out that we need to. And those will hopefully be, once we have that platform I mentioned, the technology platform put together, that will be able to track everything, be able to track who needs maintenance service on their device, make sure that we have the students who really need the devices are getting them. It's not every student, by the way. I want to remind everybody, not every student in Oakland Unified School District is getting a device. It's the ones who need the device. Those are primarily our kids who qualify for free and reduced price lunches and who qualify in other ways as well. So, obviously our kids who have the resources at home, they have computers already. They won't need a device from us. So we're going to be doing that way. And that also speaks to the equity lens as well. The Oakland Undivided campaign is about getting the kids who need the devices, getting those devices to them. Let's see, hang on a second. Let me scroll down. So, Doug, you asked, is there a timeline for the phases of blended learning? How much of it will still be distant? One of the things that we're going to be talking about is how we do the in-person learning, because there's going to be involved, among the things that are going to be involved are cleaning. We're going to have to clean a lot, right? And so one of the proposals we've been talking about is, having a group of students in on, say, Monday, Tuesday. Right, and so they're there back to back on both those days for X number of hours during the course of the day. Then on Wednesday we clean. Then the other group of students comes in on Thursday, Friday, and then in that model, what we've talked about doing is possibly having the Thursday, Friday kids come back on Monday, Tuesday the following week, so that there's no cleaning that has to happen between all those days. Where we clean again on Wednesday, and then again Group A happens Thursday, Friday, then again on Monday, Tuesday. So that's one of the possible scenarios for doing the in-person teaching and learning. And bottom line is we just have to keep the social distancing in effect. We have to make sure we don't have too many kids in our classes. And so it's not going to be, I don't envision a 50, Doug, you talked about a 50-50. I don't envision a 50-50 being where we are anytime real soon, but that's certainly what we're working towards, and eventually getting back to full time for everybody, once it's safe to do that. Let's see. So we are still trying to work out exactly how this is going to work for parents who need to work, and that is one of the biggest challenges. So many of our families need to work, and they need to have their kids in school to allow them to get to their jobs. And we all know, of course, that so many of our families lost jobs during the course of the early stage of the pandemic and the shelter in place. So we want to enable them to do that. And so we're still trying to work out exactly how we're going to be able to facilitate our parents getting back to work the way they need to. So that's something that's going to continue to develop as we go forward in the next month. So it's not, we don't have a specific plan in place yet, but that'll come. Let's see, based on the last one. So Stuart asks asking about the second to last, third to last, who are coming back based on equity lens. I can't give you the details like that. That'll come. There may be some more details on Monday, but I can't give you who's third to last, who's second to last. Ada Carter is one of our principals, and she says that Zoom has been accessible from Chromebooks, which is very good news. And so our students will be able to access that. Any other child care resources for parents who are essential workers and single parents. We are going to continue to work on child care resources. I believe we're going to be opening some of our, for the younger kids, our CDCs, as our child development centers, making sure that we have all of the necessary protocols in place to keep everybody safe. So that's, this is a learning process for all of us before we get to school. And so, I certainly hope that all of you have patience with us, because there are so many, even conflicting needs that are at work here. Obviously getting parents back to, work is one of them. Getting our kids back into in-person learning is another. Getting our kids out of social distancing, that is to the extent that they're really socially isolated. We know that that's been very difficult on a lot of people, so we're doing everything we can to get our kids back into a place where they are able to be around each other and do so safely. Let's see. So Kate asks, week of training for teachers built in the schedule. Teachers are saying 5 days is not enough. So as I said, that first 4 weeks of the new distance learning is going to include more training, both on safety and on instruction. So it'll be more than just the 5 days that the teachers are talking about. We're going to be working very closely with them. Want to make sure that they're ready to go as we move forward, especially with the plans of coming back into school more and more. Let's see. How about sports? So we're going to have a much better idea with regard to sports after July 20th, which is when the CIF is going to release their recommendations. But I think that honestly, you can look at what's been going on across the country with regard to college sports and other sporting event. I guess we can't really compare ourselves to the NBA, but when you're talking about college sports, when you're talking about high school sports, certainly safety is the number one thing that we're focused on. I can't tell you a definitive answer right now because we don't know. We're going to have to work with CIF. Make sure that they're giving us the proper recommendations and that we can go from there. But it's, so many of sports are close contact things, right? Football, basketball, water polo, things like that. Those are sports where kids come in very close contact with each other. And so that's definitely going to be a concern. And it's a concern that we have to work through in order to make sure that we're doing it safely, if indeed we do it at all. I did talk to someone who said that there might be a plan in the works to, and this isn't specific to Oakland Unified, but there was talk of maybe delaying the fall semester of sports, the fall season of sports, and possibly starting it later. All this is really dependent on what happens across the country with regard to COVID here in California and certainly here in Alameda County. So we're doing everything we can to do it safely. And we want our kids, sports are such an important part of the lives of our kids. We want to make sure that they're able to take part in those sports, but we can't have it happening unless we're doing it safely. So we just have to make sure that those protocols, procedures are all in place and our students are doing it safely. Let's see. Matthew asks, how much input did teachers have on the construction of this model? Has OEA already provided you with a response to this model? So we've been working very closely with our labor partners, including OEA. With regard to the input, as we are, I don't know if it's happening right now, but even today we were talking with our labor partners, so they are very well aware of what our thoughts are on this, and so we certainly appreciate their input. We appreciate what our teachers are telling us, what our principals are telling us, what all the other school site staff are telling us, because this is a team effort. This is going to take us all together, making sure that we do this safely and we do it effectively. So the teachers are always top of mind when it comes to what we're doing, and we want them to know that their input is very much being taken into account. So as far as Vanessa asks, under the union's proposal, in-person classes wouldn't start until COVID infection rates are near zero for 2 weeks across the district. Does the district's proposed criteria differ? If so, how? So that is something that we're still working on with our public health experts that we're in partnership with, of course, Alameda County Public Health Department, the doctors who are on our COVID-19 Action Committee. They're giving us input. And so I don't know that we have a specific threshold, as I said earlier. I don't think we have a specific threshold set yet, but that will definitely come. And again, we're partnering with our labor partners to make sure that we are all in agreement as much as we possibly can be with regard to how we do this in the safest way possible for everybody involved. What will classes look like when we get back inside? How many students? I can't say specifically. I haven't been to any of our classrooms, and I haven't talked to our custodial and our facilities folks yet, specifically about how our classes are going to look. But it's fair to say that it's going to be half capacity, right in that realm, so that there is enough space to really create distance between all of our students, and of course with our staff in those classrooms as well. So it's going to look different from what it has in the past. I got to tell you, the first day of school is one of my favorite days of the year. It's a very busy day, but it feels like a holiday because it's when we get back into our schools and we see all our kids and we see our staff who are so happy to be back together with the kids. It's just a day full of joy, and as it stands right now, we're not going to have that kind of day coming up on August 10th. It's unfortunate, but it's the reality that we're all living in right now. And so we hope to get to a point where we can have those kids back in class, because we know that they love their teachers, they love the staff that they work with, our teachers love the kids, and we certainly hope that we can do that sooner rather than later. After school programs, we're working in close concert with our after-school program providers. That's something that's very, very important as well. As our schools are going to be closed, that is, as our schools are not having in-person instruction going on to start off the year, there's not going to be any after-school program activity at the schools. So, because we're not going to be bringing kids into the schools to do the after-school program if they're not in class during the course of the day. But we're going to be working with them to figure out exactly how we can ramp that up as well in person. So I think as far as Kate, you're concerned, how many kids will be in the class once in person begins? What's the max number? I don't think that we have a specific number. It may be 12, maybe 15, something like that. It'll depend on the class. It'll depend on what kind of things are happening in the class, how big the class is. So it'll really be kind of dependent on what we have going. It'll be, it may vary a little bit from school to school, from class to class, depending on what kind of teaching and learning is going on in those classes. Let's see. So I did mention that one plan where we would there's going to be cleaning going on every day, but the deep cleaning will happen not as frequently, especially if the kids are in the same desk day after day. There wouldn't be as much cleaning, but we're going to have, everybody's going to be wearing masks. Everybody's going to be having hand sanitizer available. Everybody's going to be washing their hands as frequently as possible. And then we're going to be exercising, the social distancing that absolutely needs to happen once we are back in school. So we'll be cleaning as much as we possibly can, and then deep cleaning multiple times during the course of the rotation that happens, whatever that rotation looks like. And I mentioned the rotation earlier. I don't know that is the rotation that has been decided on yet, but there's going to be something probably pretty similar to that happening. I'm going to give you maybe two more answers, and I have to wrap this up, but I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate you sharing this. And as I said earlier, we've got that community town hall meeting on Monday that you all will be very welcome to join. I sent you the link to that at the end of the press release announcing that we were doing this press conference here. So let's see. So Linda asked, will USC subsidize teacher fiber access? Some have unstable connections which heavily disrupt learning. We are working with our teachers, with our labor partners, to make sure that we get technology into the hands, workable, useful, effective technology into the hands of our teachers as well, because we need them accessing the internet as effectively as anybody. So we need to make sure that is happening. So yes, we are working with our teachers and our labor partners to make sure that is in effect. Someone asked, Erica asked about the effect on seniors in high school. You're absolutely right. Seniors, just like this past year, it's such a challenging time for them. This is supposed to be, the high point of their elementary and secondary education, and everybody's excited to be a senior and excited to graduate, excited to go to prom and do all the other things that they do, getting ready for college and life after school. So we're doing everything we can to make sure that our seniors are getting that additional attention, and we're going to do everything we can also to get them back in school as soon as safely possible, because we know that they will need the additional assistance for college applications and finishing up their high school career strong, to make sure that they're getting the grades that they need to go where they want in life after graduation. So yeah, that's something that we're very much focused on as well. And I'm going to do one more question and then I'm going to wrap it up. Will children be able to bring their own lunch once in-person instruction begins? Yeah, I don't see any reason that wouldn't happen. So I'll have to talk to our nutrition services staff about it, but I think that will be something that students will be able to bring once they're back in class in an in-person education model. They'll be able to bring their own lunches, and to address kind of a broader question, how is the lunch going to happen? I think that what I've heard so far is that lunch will be happening in class. Unfortunately, it's not going to be, that's one of the really biggest challenges that our kids are going to face is, anybody who has elementary kids know that they love to get all over each other. They love being with each other. They love hanging on each other. They love holding hands and doing all that stuff. And we're going to have to keep them apart. And that includes, at recess and at lunchtime and all that. And we have to make sure that the kids are doing all that they're doing safely. And if they're eating, obviously they have to take off their mask to do that. We have to do that safely. And so we just have to make sure that though they want to get back to, though they really don't even fully understand what's going on, perhaps, and they know that we have these different challenges that are going on, and they know that they have to wear a mask. We're hopeful that our families are getting their kids to start wearing masks now, so they're used to it, so they don't just start on day one trying to wear a mask and then pulling it off and putting it around their ears or whatever. We want to make sure that our students are ready for the in-person instruction as far as safety goes. So it's really going to be something that we're going to have to focus on with our younger kids especially, but also our older kids. So thank you so much to everybody who joined us. I appreciate you all. Those of you who are members of the district community, I appreciate you being here to hear us out on this. Anybody who is a member of the media, and whether you're a member of the media or a member of the media and a member of our community, we appreciate you spreading this message. This is such an important time. We're excited to approach the school year. It hasn't really felt like much of a summer, I think, for most of us. Because of the fact that we can't go on vacation really anywhere, we can't really do the things that we want to do, but we're excited to get back to the point where we are helping our kids on a daily basis. We're certainly trying to keep our families up to date on all of this information as much as possible. I did send out a follow-up press release, by the way, that lists all this information in greater detail than what I gave you. That went out around 5 o'clock, so your newsroom should have that if you don't have it personally. And then we're going to be sending out more information as we go forward, including information that will be released to our community on Monday. So we hope you all have a great weekend. Stay safe, and we will talk to you very soon. If not on Monday, then sometime shortly thereafter. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you.